live. All right.
Hey, Zudo Aragi here with my friend.
Hi, I'm ChewToy. Nice to meet everybody.
There's currently nobody here, but there should be eventually.
Yeah. So, for any of those who are fans of Warframe, you know that the 50th frame got released a while ago, along with Veilbreaker, Styanax. And I've seen all the memes, people making him look like Leonidas, giving him the gloom ability to reenact that scene from 300, yeah, yada yada. But when I look at builds, I tend to go with how this one group I watch, 2-Star Gamers on YouTube, they do a lot of good Warframe guides and builds, and it's actually helped me get through a lot of the tougher missions. So I figured I'd not give my opinion on Styanax today. First of all, hold on, let me switch him back to the standard configuration so I can go through the abilities. So, Styanax. Again, people are also complaining that a lot of the new frames are just a bunch of different ones wrapped together with a fresh coat of paint. Who cares? We have a Spartan Warrior. That's awesome in its own right. But, so, Styanax's passive, it's kind of unique. Like Hildren, he's very reliant on his shields for his ability to work, which we really haven't had a very shield-heavy frame in a while, so this is a nice change of pace. So, the higher Styanax's base shield is, the higher the critical hit chance. The higher the critical hit chance for all his attacks is. So as you can see with my current build, I've got 2,000, which is pretty damn good. And with his third ability, Rally Point, every time he gets a kill while it's active, he gets Overshield. And I think the Overshield maxes out at like an additional 1,000 points, so 3,000 shield altogether, which means that his critical hit chance is absurd, especially when you're using his other abilities. His first one, Axios Javelin. As the picture shows, throw the javelin. If it hits somebody, it draws them in a vortex, which you can then damage them with other weapons. Or if you hit the area around him, it just does an air explosion. Okay, it's fine. Second ability, Tharos Strike. Big area sweep with the shield, which reduces shield and armor of the enemies and regens a little bit of health for him. I mean, that's not bad. Obviously, as you can see from the health, it's even with the buffs I have to his stats, average buffs, it's not a lot of health back. And the damage, the reduction to shield and armor, that looks nice, but when you have somebody like Nyx who can 100% strip shield or armor with her psychic bolts, it's kind of weaker compared to other enemies. So that's the one I suggest removing for a new ability. And his final one, Final Stand. Jump in the air and spears everywhere. Javelins everywhere. Yeah. And if you see that number down there, yeah, that's not a glitch or anything. That's 37 javelins you can throw. It's ridiculous. And these javelins will do area damage, but if you aim them at specific enemies, it's even more damage. Spears everywhere. Javelins everywhere. So, yeah. And the build. You see that number down there? How do you make him work the best? Well, as you can see with my standard one, this is pretty much what you want. You want something that you can throw. And yeah, again, he's not. I just got him max level. Finally, I was busy with other stuff. These javelins would do area damage, but if you aim, it's not them at the best you can go with. But what you want to do is make sure he has the most shield possible, up his armor a bit, and make sure he's got enough energy to run his attacks, because his later two are a little bit more expensive. You'll want to keep Rally Point active as long as you can. I got a duration of almost 40 seconds right now, so that's pretty good. But Final Stand, his main damage dealer, it costs about a quarter of his energy pool right now where I had it set to. And that might increase depending on what mods you put on. Like if you decide to go higher strength but lower efficiency with Blind Rage, which will make those spears do even more damage. And I believe, don't quote me on this, that the higher his strength stat, the more javelins he'll get for final stand. But on the downside, you know, your efficiency is dropped to 50%, which is not good because that'll make that cost like 150 to 200. But the best way to make him work, so you see this is all good. Go over to the second bit. I swapped the shield for Chroma's Elemental Ward. Specifically, the shock one. You'll want to make sure that your emissive color matches for electricity. So what the electric ward does is it increases your shield capacity by, at base power, 100%. It gives you an increased status chance for your attacks. It gives you a bit of a multiplier as well for damage. And it affects about 10 meters around you, so your allies, if they're within 10 meters, can also gain a bit of bonus from it if you got the right mods, and also it does shock nearby enemies, which is handy. Stunning nearby enemies, which means it leaves them open for counterattacks. So, as I said before, you want, time being, corrosive protection as your aura. It will strip their armor regardless, that's good. Next, you'll want to make sure you got your... Okay, just... There. Next, you'll want... Let me just double check what I had set here. Okay, going back here. You'll want to have something that can also help keep your shields up on top of rally points. So what I did on the standard build was I had at least 2 of the augers set, because their ability is, especially if you have the lower efficiency, this will work even better. But the more you have, the base power of it is 40% of the energy spent for your abilities is converted to your shields. The more you have, the higher that increases, up to, well, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 240%. So, with 2...
That sounds dangerous.
It's not really dangerous. It's, well...
Well, it sounds dangerous to be on the business end of those giant metal sticks.
Yeah. So if you, like, if I were to put Blind Rage on right now, dropping its efficiency down, it would make the javelins cost more, which in turn means that you'll adding more back to your shield. And as long as your shield is super high, all those things which do slash damage, first of all, which, again, slash can ignore shield and armor and goes right to the health pool, and it's percentile damage per second.
So it's basically just 37 different little spikes of general FU.
I might as well be throwing 37 SAR bombas at somebody.
Good God, that sounds like it'd be very painful.
It is. The only problem is you can't one-shot bosses with this, because they especially when they start dropping those sewer bosses, like the Liches and the Sisters of Parvos, and now we've got the Archons, and after they got, then now only a certain number of stacks of Astasium can be put on an enemy at one time, which I think for them is like 4. So you're not getting the most out of it, but again, the initial damage is going to be powerful. Obviously, you'll want to make sure his armor, because Styanax's armor is one of his lower stats.
Not being able to one-shot a boss seems like the video game equivalent of first world problems to me.
Well...
like, even being able... Like, in general, I think being able to just sort of take down a boss in just a few hits seems good. Like,
oh, yeah, you still can. It's just that some bosses now have, like, oh, you put them down a certain health bar. Oh, cool, now you gotta knock their shield off. You know, it's like the rule of threes kind of thing. Like, do it 3 times and they're dead. So, Yeah, you'd think a Spartan Warrior would have high armor, but without steel fiber, he's got 250 armor, which it says reduces damage to health by 62%, but I found that it's not always true.
Great, so the numbers don't even tell the truth.
Yeah.
I can't believe anything anymore.
Yeah, well, DE's been trying to do some balance changes to make things fair, especially now that we have the Archons that came in and... Oh boy, those are another nightmare. Yeah, put it back to... I guess maybe at 500 armor, that's what I get, but at 250, it's going to be lower. So yeah, he's got, at level 30, 250 armor. His shield is obviously super high. His health is... If I take this off, it's the only thing it's giving is health. Yeah, his health 300. Not bad.
No, Alistair says that bosses tend to have gimmicks that make it impossible to one-shot them anyway.
No, that's true. Yeah. Especially if, like, the Repopolost, or whatever however you pronounce that thing, on Jupiter, you gotta go through the gimmick of knocking into the tower in order to damage its health bar. Or the Eidolons on the plains of Eidolon, you gotta... Yeah. I remember back in the days when... if anyone's in the chat, anyone remember back in the day before the major updates, the Jackal, where you got the parts from Rhino from? How you could pretty much one-shot that thing if you had the right weapon? Oh boy, when they revamped his fight, it kind of pissed me off, because here this thing is, a level 7 boss, I'm just running through trying to grind a weapon, and this thing is taking chunks of my health off. I'm like, what's going on? But, yeah.
It's like Rhino in the PS4 Spider-Man game.
You know, he pretty much is. Big stompy charge into things. That's pretty much what Rhino is.
And really chunky.
Yeah. That's canonically the heaviest Warframe, which is weird considering we have one who can literally move mountains. You know, Atlas.
There's like weird psychic shit in this game, so of course there's people that can move mountains.
Well, he kind of one-punch man an asteroid.
What?
Yeah, that's literally canon in the story. He literally flew up to an asteroid, couldn't destroy it, but he cracked the freaking thing in half with a punch. Atlas is very strong.
Good God.
Back to here. Alright, so you want armor, you'll want shield, obviously. You want to make sure. So, I have Prime Vigor and Redirection. I don't have a lot of the Prime stuff yet, so bear with me on this. But anything that can boost that base shield up to as high as you can get. Another thing to keep him alive if you're dealing with something that can take tons of shield off, Adaptation. I have a max level, but because I haven't gotten this guy, Formic yet, can't put on, but this is pretty good. And to get this, you need to do arbitrations if you're high enough level.
Considering that's the same name as a legal term, I imagine it's not very fun.
They're not terrible. You have to have a level 30 Warframe, and it's best to do it with other people. And basically, every so often, you'll get this as a reward. Like if you do survival or excavation, stuff like that. Every time, either the certain amount of time for survival or a certain number of goals are met, you'll get a reward. And adaptation is one of them. I'm lucky and got a few of them, so I can, yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, I'd say you have a few.
I've got 4 here. They're unranked. I've got 2 different ones. One max rank for my best frames and the lowers for if I'm still working on getting balances done. Obviously, you want to make sure his strength is up there and give him more energy. Alright, let me just finagle this back the way it was supposed to be. Adaptation. Just over there. Auger cord. Again, boost shield. A little better. That could be a... No, his sprint speed's okay. Don't think I'll need that. That would be a good option in the future. Let's see. Auger message. Increased duration as well.
Alistair said, I've had no real problem with the Jackal after I learned its pattern. Just stay close and move along the laser wall's path and jump a second before it jumps to avoid the shockwave slam.
Yeah, I figured out the pathway too. It's just when they first did that change, it pissed me off because Yeah, because I was trying to get the mostly just level up weapon. I was also trying to grind for the parts to just get to trade off to new players and friends of mine who didn't who were like, oh, you want to have a strong frame right off the bat? Here, I'll trade you this stuff. You can just make Rhino and enjoy that. Double check what it is here. Oh, I didn't even have auto record on that. Oh, that's I had reach a message, right? Huh. Should have had that. Well, with 3 that'd even be better, but another time. I've already got. Where did you go? Bigger. Oh, actually.
I thought that said auger massage. I don't think a massage from an auger would feel very good.
No, considering that's real. Actually, ooh, that's even better. I put the full adaptation on that one. Alright, let's do the same thing on that one. I had a thought, the thought panned out. Hooray, my brain is not useless. Alright, I need steel fiber.
Yo, Al, you got any suggestions?
This. I'm having an off day. I passed steel fiber, didn't I? I am a genius, apparently. No, I did not. I am completely dumb.
I'm a genius. Oh no!
There we go. yeah, I'm having that. I'm having that kind of day. Ugh. Intensify redirection. Alright. Redirection. I'm pretty sure nope, that's the strongest I have. Again, I don't really actually do anything with a lot of these guys. Sorry about that. Yep, intensify is the. That's what I
God
thought.
damn it. One of the light bulbs in my cabinet went out. Great, so just one half of my transformers get lit up now. Lovely.
Oh well. Alright. Back to standard stats. Alright. Okay, so this is going to be a test run to see if the Elemental Ward will actually work very well on him. I believe it does, from what I can tell by this. Oh yeah, especially with the upgrades right there. Now, it's 130%, with a stats chance of 32, a 13 times damage multiplier. Oh my.
Jesus Christ.
Ooh. And mind you, with the exception of Prime Vigor, this is, and maybe adaptation, this is stuff you can pretty much just acquire just by running through the early to mid game. So anyone who manages to get Styanax before, actually I think it's past, yep, it is past the time where you get them for free, but if you manage to get extra pieces to give to your friends, so they can have them early on, this is and they're still early game, this is a pretty good build. You can probably replace this for something else that will, you might have to sacrifice a little bit of a health buff, but there's probably a bunch of other things you can get. Like, you probably throw steel fiber on there instead and throw that third auger mod on that gives the shield buff. It's not the same, but at least that ability will increase, so it'll be 120% energy spent will go to shields. So that works. Alright, arcanes. I don't have a lot of good arcanes. I've only started actually trying to hunt them down and collect them, so one you'll definitely want, which I'm still trying to get the extra sword to upgrade it. Arcane Energize. 60% chance to replenish energy when you pick up an orb, and your allies also get that same effect as long as they're within a certain distance from you.
Oh, hang on just a second. And we're back. Sorry about the interruption.
Yeah. So looks like we'll have to pause the stream for a little bit. It'll be back in about like 10-15 minutes, but let me finish this real quick. the second arcane you'll probably want. If you're at the point where you can use your arch gun in atmosphere, if you've gotten far enough with Solaris United to take down the Prophet Taker, one I suggest that you equip. As soon as I can remember where it is. Ah, here we go. Yeah, Arcane Tanker. If you're in trouble and you need to pull out a big gun to do a lot of damage, this is pretty good. At max level, the moment you summon your arch gun, your armor score will increase by 1200 for a full minute. Which means that between your shield and the high armor stat, for that 1 minute, you literally will become the Juggernaut. So that's pretty
So
good.
you're like the Juggernaut combined with a cruise missile.
Yeah, cruise missile throwing Leonidas.
So a Merv?
I hope that head slap was loud enough for everyone to hear, because this guy. All right,
Hey, I am a self-professed jackass.
be true. Okay, so another thing to know about Steinex real quick before I head off and do this little errand. Spear guns. As long as he is equipped with one. Actually, hold on. I might be able to go over his abilities real quick and just pass it. Oh yeah, Steinex's critical chance increases with his shields, and that doubles if he's wielding a spear gun. So, even if you don't use a spear gun,
What is this, Monster Hunter?
no, that's bow gun I was looking at. A spear gun is literally like this. It's literally a weapon. There's like a spear you can throw, but you don't. It's got a gun at the end of it. There's currently 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Don't quote me on that in the game. The most recent one, which is his signature weapon, you can throw to pin enemies, or you can shoot an exploding dart.
That's literally just an angry stick with a crossbow bolted to the front.
Yes, it is. It fits. Now, the only problem I have with it is, among the spear guns, is...
Oh my god, it's a Panzerfaust.
more like a dime slice, but whatever. It hits like a freight train, but it fires like a snail covered in molasses, so...
That is just typical Warframe. Them throwing the equivalent of a cruise missile the size of a spear is tame.
Oh, yes. Other ones you can get, which I do have a lot of weapons maxed out, a few I don't yet. See, there's the Javelok, which is the Grenier one, which just basically throws molten slugs at people.
Why is it with this game in slugs?
That literally is what it is. It's just a...
Oh, you mean like shotgun slugs, not like actual...
Well, more like... I should have said slag, actually. It's like a pellet of molten slag that just,
For some reason, my brain is still stuck on that weird worm event pain in the ass from Destiny. It keeps thinking that was from this.
Yeah. This one, Scourge. This is pretty much a signature weapon for Harrow.
Harrow?
Harrow, as in a harrowing thing. This,
oh, okay.
There's
not the mobile Harrow.
No. There's a Prime version of it. I have not hunted it down to farmed it to get it yet, but the Scourge, fantastic. Especially when you kit it out properly, so that radial attack on it can do a shit ton of damage. See, blast darts with corrosive plasma, projectiles that are shaped like moons for some reason. Or toss it.
Because why the hell not?
And if you toss it, it magnetizes their brains, so the bullets that are fired go right to them.
What?
I shit you not, that's how it works.
This is some weird-ass Payday Skyrim logic.
Oh yes, I just picked up this basket. Now I weigh 500 pounds. I must eat this basket to solve the problem.
Ah, okay. Thanks for the info, Alistair. You just explained what Harrow about being a stunner unit. Boosts his own shields. The more opponents it chains.
Yeah, I thought about that ability for him because it obviously it's the only one you can get from Harrow. I thought about it, it works better on other frames that need to have shield recovery, because that's more of a recovery feat, whereas Elemental Ward is a straight up constant boost that's active for about half a minute. And half a minute in this game, especially if you're just cruising through enemies, it covers most encounters on a map. Also, I just gotta see how much that makes the damage buff when it's active, because again, his crit chance and stuff is based on shield level. So, yeah, obviously, and people might say this, might say I'm wrong, but this is better than Kuva Nugor. Prove me wrong. And then obviously, just for the Spartan aesthetic, Sword and Shield. I had to. I've got much better.
For some reason, it looks like a Pokemon.
Well, it's not, but that thing can actually, in the middle, can actually be fired as a disc as for the mid-air attack. So it's a mid-range Sword and Shield. But yeah, I got better melee weapons, but just because I want to live out my 300 fantasy, like just being a freaking Spartan, murdering things. Whatever. All right, so we'll go to a mission. We'll check how strong he is. But when we get back, so
yeah, we'll take care of all that, but we gotta go run some errands because these human bodies actually need to eat, unlike Warframes. Of course, the first thing you think of is Pyra. Alistair said, just makes me think of Pyra from Ruby now.
You're not wrong.
She's not as cute. Because that is... I mean, maybe if you're a necrophiliac?
It's not... Oh, yeah, they are technically that. Okay, let's just leave it on that.
Alright. Okay, bye-bye.